Strength, everyone thinks they know what it looks like, but true strength is often invisible. It hides behind tired eyes, behind smiles that never quite reach the heart. In the emerald folds of Velora Valley, where rivers whisper songs through the dawn fog, lived a young man named Kaael Rion, broad-shouldered, bronzed by labor, eyes sharp yet weary. To the world, Kaael was a force. He could haul a plow single-handed, climb the cliffs that guarded his village, and work till the last light vanished from the sky. But when the noise of the day faded, a quieter noise took over the voice inside him. It said, "You're not enough, you'll never be more than what this valley makes you. All your strength means nothing if no one sees your pain." He could wrestle the earth, but not his own thoughts. He could silence a field of wind, but not the whisper in his mind. The fiercest defeat is the one your mind delivers before the world even begins its fight. And so began his invisible war, fought not in fields or rivers, but in the echoing halls of his own heart. Every evening, Kaael trained by the river. The villagers admired him. They saw his discipline, his tireless energy, his silent strength. But they never noticed the way his gaze lingered on his reflection in the water. To them it looked like focus. To him it was interrogation. Stared into the ripples and asked quietly, "Why do I feel empty after every victory?" The river never answered. It only carried his reflection downstream, reshaping it until it was unrecognizable. That evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the river gold, an older figure approached Rion, Kaal's father. His steps were slow, his frame lean from years of toil, but his eyes, calm like water that had seen every storm. He sat beside his son, watching the light dance on the surface. He didn't speak at first. He didn't need to. Fathers in Velora didn't always give answers. Sometimes their silence was the lesson. Then gently he said, "Kaael, you've spent years hardening your body, but you left your mind unguarded. A sword is useless if the hand that holds it trembles." Kaael turned away, jaw tight, throat dry. The truth stung harder than any wound. You can lift mountains, but if you can't lift your thoughts, they'll crush you from within. Those words haunted Kaael like footsteps in the dark. They followed him into every repetition, every breath, every night's half-sleep. Because deep down, he knew the enemy he fought wasn't the world. It was the whisper that lived rent-free inside his skull. Then came the night the heavens broke. Lightning flashed across Velora's peaks. Rain roared against the fields and thunder split the silence like a cry from the gods. While others sought warmth, Kaael ran into the storm. Barefoot, furious, defiant. He trained under the downpour, punching, pushing, screaming. Every strike was a question he couldn't answer. Every breath turned into pain. Mud clung to his legs like failure. Rain washed over him like truth. And then he fell, knees sinking into the soil that had raised him. He shouted into the darkness, voice cracking, "Why do I always lose to myself? Why can't I win this one war?" From the blur of rain and wind came a flicker, a lantern. It was Rion, soaked and calm, holding the flame steady. He set it between them and said softly, "You fight the world because it's easier than facing yourself. The storm outside isn't your enemy, it's your reflection." Kaael stared at his father, the words cutting through the thunder. When the storm inside you quiets, no thunder outside can shake your peace. And in that moment, under rain and lightning, Kaael understood. He wasn't broken by life. He was breaking himself, by believing the lies he'd built in silence. When dawn arrived, Velora smelled of earth and renewal. The storm had cleansed the fields and Kaal's heart felt just as bare. He didn't reach for weights that morning. He reached for stillness. He sat by the same river where he once shouted at his reflection. This time he watched the ripples with peace. Each thought that rose he faced. Each doubt that spoke he answered, "I'm not enough." I'm learning. I can't change. I already am. I'm weak. I'm growing through it. Days turned into weeks. His workouts changed shape, slower, deliberate, meaningful. Each rep was a conversation with his spirit. Each drop of sweat was not punishment, but prayer. His body grew stronger, yes, but his mind began to glow. When your thoughts start obeying your vision, even chaos becomes a tool in your hands. Negativity still came knocking as it always does. But Kaael didn't open the door anymore. He smiled, nodded, and kept training. If you've ever felt trapped inside your own thoughts, this story is your mirror. Keep watching, because your turning point might come with the next sunrise. Years past, the valley changed. New crops, new faces, new laughter. Children now trained by the same river where Kaael once battled himself. They lifted stones, ran through the fields, and shouted in joy, not frustration. And among them stood Kaael, no longer the restless boy, but a teacher, calm, centered, alive. His movements carried a kind of peace that came from knowing pain and rising above it. From the hilltop, Rion watched his son with quiet pride. The man who once fell to the mud now lifted others from it. The boy who once feared his mind now trained others to trust theirs. The voice that once chained you can become the echo that frees 1,000 others. When the day ended and the children went home, Rion approached Kaael. He placed a gentle hand on his shoulder and asked, "What changed you, my son?" Kaael smiled, eyes reflecting the sunset. "The day I stopped wrestling with my thoughts, and started training them like they were part of me. Maybe that's the real meaning of strength. Not the power to lift the world, but the courage to face your own reflection and still choose to rise." If this story touched you, share it. Someone out there is fighting their own invisible war right now, and your share might be their light.